Grant and Eva, do you know how to throw a punch better now that you spent time with Oscar? Like, did you get into a fight now and hold your own?
I'm looking forward to showing Oscar some moves.
Oh, okay.
I've not been able to see him due to the pandemic. It was all planned for Sundance. I'm so sorry I can't show you my left.
It's gonna be a Friday fight. Don't worry, we're gonna set up. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna relive those mornings.
I've been retired for 14 years, so I kind of forgot how to throw a punch.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Variety Virtual Sundance Studio presented by Audible. I'm Clayton Davis, Film Awards Editor at Variety, and thanks for joining me today for this conversation with director Eva Longoria Baston. Hello, Eva.
Hi, how are you?
Producer Grant Best.
How you doing?
And champion of the world, subject, Oscar De La Hoya. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You made a little documentary here. Look at you, Eva. Look, just making documentaries out of nowhere.
Yeah, during COVID.
During COVID, right? Because you weren't busy, obviously, so you just were like, I'll just throw a nice little doc together.
Exactly. No, actually, this is all Oscar's fault. Oscar and I have been friends for 23 years, and he called and he was like, hey, the anniversary of this fight is the 25-year anniversary of this fight's coming up. We want to do a doc, you should direct it. And I was like, I don't really want.
Don't lie, you jumped on it right away.
She's trying to be humble about it. She's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Boxing stats, but no, it's so crazy because I love this guy to death, and I remember that fight. And I told Oscar, I said, I don't want to do a boxing doc like the traditional way, but like what was interesting to me was this cultural divide that particular fight had in our household. Like I remember my dad cheering for Julio and I was cheering for Oscar because Oscar was like me, like we're Mexican American. We straddle that hyphen every day. And I said, that's really interesting. It'd be interesting to explore it now because I feel like we're still going through the same issues. Our community still has the same issues. And so Oscar was like, yeah, do whatever you want.
Grant and Eva, what does that feel like to have a movie debuting, not necessarily in person because, there's a pandemic happening evidently, but how does it feel to finally have a movie like landing there?
Yeah, Grant, how do you feel, Grant?
We are so pleased. It's our first real feature doc. To have it selected at Sundance, we're incredibly surprised and excited. Obviously disappointed we can't be there, but we know why. But it's been an unbelievable journey to get it finished. Let's not forget how hard everyone's worked, all the people involved in our teams. But listen, Eva has put together an amazing documentary, and for it to be selected for its global premiere is truly fantastic for DAZN originals. It's great.
Obviously, now leading to you, Oscar, about like watching the film depict, this time, and was it like kind of a mind scramble to relive those moments captured beautifully by our director here?
Eva, you did a wonderful job. It is just, you captured every special moment, and you took me back to memory lane. But it was a historical night all the way around. From Chavez being the icon and the Mexican hero, the Mexican national, and then you have this pocho, which Chavez used to call me, which means like you're from the US, you don't really speak Spanish, you speak English, you grew up in a US household, but you're proud of your Mexican descent, your Mexican roots. And so I was confused. I was confused on what he was meaning, by that. What do you mean I'm pocho? I just didn't know what that meant because I grew up in a Mexican household with my parents speaking Spanish. It's incredible how this fight, like Eva said, it just divided cultures, literally. Some of my uncles were actually cheering for Chavez. Imagine that, right? So it was pretty intense, to say the least.
One of the opening interviews of the film is the sports journalist refers to a line I hear a lot with Latino culture often is, it wasn't a real Mexican, like qualifiers that Latinos have put upon each other for centuries, and we still do it today. Eva, like you open the movie with that line. Were you conscious of that and wanted to make a statement right out the gate?
Yeah, this is my third documentary I've directed and the first feature length. And so anytime you do a documentary, you have to be very focused on what you're trying to ask and what you're trying to answer. Because if not, you can go down so many roads in a documentary, especially with the amount of archival footage that we had. To open the film in which the lens in which we were exploring this fight was very important. To set the table and go, we're talking about this fight, we're talking about this issue, and we're talking about these two guys. There's documentaries on Julio Cesar Chavez. There's tons of documentaries on Oscar. Like Oscar's, this is one fight of his life. Like, so we had to stay super, super focused in framing that conversation of what does it mean to be Mexican enough? And that's what I love about the end of the film is you see how similar Julio and Oscar's journey was. It was nice to, come full circle, start the movie that way, like, oh, look at these differences. He doesn't do this. He's American. He's Mexican. He's older. Oscar's young. He's the champion. Oscar's the up and comer. Like, it was all the differences. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, wait, these are our heroes.
I think we've always tried to look at some sports stories that are not just about that sporting event, what surrounds it. And I think that's what we were able to do here with Oscar and Julio and with Eva directing, is give them that canvas to talk about two stories. One, the divided cultures, and the fight itself. And it comes through wonderfully well in the film.
Eva, if you don't mind me asking, you're a trailblazer and have really knocked down a lot of walls and broken a lot of ceilings, and you're taking on a sport that is heavily dominated by the male species. Were you conscious of that when you took it on?
My life's work has been in my community. And being Mexican American and furthering our community in anything that they do. And so that's in which the lens I brought, that's exactly what we did, was wanting to explore this cultural divide. That I do know, that I do experience, that I did live.